Hi, I'm Dominic. You're watching Dominic's Woodworks, and today I'll be turning a lidded box, but not just any old lidded box. In case you've ever been to an Indian restaurant, you might have noticed a little bowl sitting near the exit filled with kernels, seeds and stuff like that. Well, that stuff. The idea of this is that after you've eaten way more than you should, you take a handful and they not only will taste nice but also help your digestion. And I made this box, but this box has a secret. It comes with its own serving spoon. Check it out.
I'm using maple to make this box, and on top of bottom and top, I also need a few extra pieces. I trace out a circle on both top and bottom and start by cutting away material to make turning a little easier. You can cut out a good enough circle freehand on the bandsaw, but at least on my saw that took a while. A quicker and less round method would be to use the miter saw, approximating the cylinder by cutting it down to a square first and then taking off the corners. First, I want to make the bottom part. I put it between centers on the lathe, using the center point of the compass as a guide, and drew it up. To hollow it out, I need to put it in my chuck, although gluing it to a sacrificial piece and then mounting it on a faceplate would work as well. When turning a tenon on one end, it helps to know how wide your chuck can actually open. I start the opening using a Forstner bit, and as you can see, it got quite hot. Good thing I get to turn away these discolorations now using my Easy Wood tool Easy Hollower number 3. After I'm satisfied with the inner shape, I switch to shaping the outside. Overall, I wanted to achieve an Indian design, but I decided to play it loose since I'm neither that architecturally inclined, nor did I want to put too many details into the piece, because that would also mean more things to mess up. I also take the opportunity to sand the bottom. I already drewed up the top piece and turned a tenon on it like before, but the detail that I do want to add require 4 off-center blind holes, which I drill with a spade bit on my drill press. At this point I had no idea whether I had chosen the right diameter, seeing how there's only limited room in the piece, but in the end it turned out fine. On the lathe, I start by turning the tenon for the lid, and I turned it to fit the bottom perfectly, which turned out to be a bit of a bad idea, since that turned into a loose fit later after sanding and using it in the chuck as well. But we are not there yet. Where we are is the through hole through the center of the lid. I hollow the inside out a bit more to gain more room. Then I start on the outside, which is supposed to be flowing curves to make a dome. Halfway through, I flip the piece around using the lid tenon for chucking. This way I can finish the top of the dome, including sanding, without having to worry about a stub or something from parting it off. What do I mean? Well, I decided to demonstrate it in the next step, which sounds a lot better than messing up at first. I drewed up one of the extra pieces and proceeded to turn it into the first of 4 small turrets. See what happens? Since I turn it between centers, there's quite obviously a center in the way of completing finishing the tip. Thus I repeated this step with another piece in the chuck, and this way I can turn the complete turret shape and sand it too. Like I said, I need 4 of those. This stub is too short for a turret, but I have use for it anyway. I have drilled a hole into it and started turning it down. And down. And down. I picked a wrench of the right size to work as a gauge for the outer diameter, and kept removing material till it fits. As a hint, this piece now fits into the lid's center hole. Also, the spade bit came in slightly off center, but that's character for you. From another, longer piece, I turn the central spire, and its bottom end will have the same outer diameter as the straw that I just turned, plus a little tenon of its own. From one of the failed turrets I cut off a short piece to act as a block. These 3 pieces then get combined using epoxy. Something I should have done before is to apply the intended beeswax finish while I still had the pieces on the lathe. So I chuck up what I still can and do it now. I use my drill chuck for the turrets and also the longer center one, but the latter had the tendency to eat my shop rack. So I decided to let it have its victory, wrapped it around more carefully and turned the lathe on. Now for the special ingredient, a hole in the straw. I mark how deep the extra piece extends through the lid, then used the thread saw to cut a hole into it. I was worried that this might damage the integrity of the piece, but it is holding up just fine. With a file I smooth over the edges of the hole and, well, that's it. Here's how it works, and it actually works with anything that comes in kernels or grains. As you can see here, I also glued the turrets into the lid with epoxy. Put the spices into the bowl, put the lid on, put the center spire in and gently push it down, grab the box, holding lid and spire in place and give it a shake. Pull the spire out and dump the contents of the hollow into your hand. Enjoy and digest.
Just in case you're wondering what these 2 hearts are supposed to be, my daughter's got a bunch of stickers and they don't know where to put them, so well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me make this box, and I hope this gives you ideas of making your own. I think this kind of scoop worked out way better than I had anticipated. It's pretty stable, way more stable than I had hoped. The only issue I have with this is that it doesn't look really Indian in design, but more like Towers on Naboo. But that's, well, my wife likes it and so that's settled. The thing is, I kind of turned this tenon here too loose, or I turned it to fit snugly and then I sanded it. So it's a little loose here. I don't know whether I'll put anything in between there. I thought about wrapping some cord around it to make it stick more securely, because when you take it, I can take it like this and hold the spoon down and then give it some shake. But I don't know whether, for example, the kids could, and if they topple it over, I don't know. But I like how that works, and I hope this inspires you to make something of your own. If you do, please share a photo with me. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel and make sure you follow me on Instagram, where I put sneak peeks of upcoming projects, sometimes a month in advance. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember to be inspired. With a lot of different kind of roundish things, what they're called. Oh my. Yeah, I can eat it, but I can't name it.